Well, welcome to the 700 Club. The focus in the Middle East has recently been on keeping the peace in Gaza and then disarming Hamas. But at the same time, another danger to Israel has been rising yet again in Lebanon. Hezbollah is rearming.
Well, meanwhile, in Jerusalem, massive crowds of religious Jews protested against serving in the military. Julie Stahl has our report.
Tens of thousands of ultra-Orthodox Jewish men, known as Haredim, took to the streets, prayed, and blocked the entrance to Jerusalem for hours Thursday. They were protesting a proposed law to draft religious students into the army and the government's arrest of Haredi draft dodgers. One young man fell to his death after climbing to the top of a crane, and hundreds clashed with police.
It is not worth it to fight with each other. We are all for the Torah. We are all the children of the Creator of the world in this country, and we all need to be one people. We are all a family.
Military service in Israel is mandatory, except for the ultra-Orthodox who are exempt. That causes great political and social friction here in Israel, especially now after 2 years of war.
And I'm here today on behalf of all the reservists, all the soldiers, all the people who were injured in this war, all the families who lost their beloveds, to tell my brothers, the Haredim, join us. There is no contradiction between serving in the army and serving the Torah and studying Torah.
Later on Thursday, Hamas returned 2 more bodies of murdered hostages. Amiram Cooper, 84, one of the founders of Kibbutz Nir Oz, was kidnapped and murdered in captivity. Sachar Baruch, 25, from Kibbutz Be'eri, was taken from his mother's home when terrorists raided it. They murdered him later during an IDF rescue attempt. The bodies of 2 Americans are among the 11 remaining in Gaza. Those bodies should have been returned in the first part of the recent deal 18 days ago.
The combination of the determination of the political leadership and the resolute actions of our wonderful soldiers and commanders has led to the crushing of the Iranian Axis to bring back all our living captives.
Meanwhile, tensions are rising between Israel and Lebanon, with reports that the ceasefire is in danger of collapsing. Israel has been carrying out frequent targeted strikes against Hezbollah terrorists as they try to rearm and rebuild their infrastructure in violation of the understandings between Israel and Lebanon. According to the agreement, Lebanon is required to disarm the Iranian proxy Hezbollah, which has been slow going. However, the Lebanese army has not confronted the Israeli military. But in a sign of a shift, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun reportedly instructed the army to confront any Israeli incursion into southern Lebanon after a municipal worker was killed there. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar met with the UN Special Coordinator for Lebanon, Janine Hennis. He wrote on X, Hezbollah, with Iran's support, continues to intensify its efforts to rebuild and rearm. This is dangerous for Israel's security, just as it is for Lebanon's future. Israel cannot bury its head in the sand in the face of this trend. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
And the world can't bury its head in the sand in the face of that trend. Hezbollah absolutely wants to wipe Israel off the map. That is their stated goal, and they want to use everything in their power to do that. They created tunnels, they created rocket launchers, they supposedly had a military as large as a European nation. We were listening to intelligence reports claiming that just 2-3 years ago. They were utterly defeated in the past 2 years, but if we allow them to yet rearm, it is an absolute danger to peace in the Middle East. And who's behind all of that? Well, Iran is. And so that funding corridor from Iran all the way to Lebanon seems to be very much intact. If the Lebanese army won't do it, we certainly can't expect the UN to do it. They were charged with a safety zone that was put in place after Israel withdrew from southern Lebanon after the last war. Right at the foot of some of the watchtowers of the UN camps, you had these incredible Hezbollah installations that were firing rockets into Israel. And it's amazing how the UN dances around that. Well, we're a peacekeeping force. We're not a peacemaking force. And somehow, if you're a peacekeeper, all you do is observe. But in that observation, they didn't even raise a flag of warning. So can we expect the UN to do anything? I think no. Can we expect the Lebanese army to do anything? It doesn't seem that they want to. They're making some public proclamations. But in the long-term interest of Lebanon, I remember it before the PLO was given sanctuary there back in 1972. And in the 1960s, it was called the Jewel of the Mediterranean, where all of the religions lived in peace and they had a wonderful government, a wonderful economy. And today it's in shambles. Wouldn't it be great for the Lebanese people to have peace and not have Hezbollah? But we'll see. But all this talk of peace, but there doesn't seem to be any change in the ideology of hate against Israel. Well, in other news, President Trump is calling on Senate Republicans to take extreme measures to end the government shutdown. John Jessup has that story and more from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That's right, Gordon. The president made his statement as pressures from the government shutdown build in many parts of the country. CBN's Dale Hurd has the story.
Nearly 42 million Americans receiving food assistance under the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, will lose those benefits tomorrow if Congress can't agree on how to keep that program going or reopen the government. Overnight, President Trump called on Republicans in Congress to change the rules in the Senate to again open the government with a simple majority vote instead of the 60 votes currently needed, the so-called nuclear option. Trump posted on Truth Social, because of the fact that the Democrats have gone stone-cold crazy, the choice is clear. Initiate the nuclear option, get rid of the filibuster, and make America great again. Conservatives have long opposed getting rid of the filibuster because they believe it could open the door to bad legislation in the future, and Republicans don't seem to have the votes to do it anyway. Almost 1.4 million federal workers have already gone without pay, and more than 750,000 are on furlough. Air traffic controllers are going on their 6th unpaid week, and that could lead to massive travel disruptions. Meanwhile, food banks across the country have scaled up efforts to help those in need of food assistance.
We're treating this just like a hurricane where we're going to step in. It will be a challenge, but we're up to the task as we have been before.
However, 27 states have so far announced they will step up and provide some level of funding for SNAP benefits and food pantries. On Capitol Hill, the Democratic push to extend Obamacare medical subsidies is still the major sticking point, putting other programs like SNAP at risk. Some Democrats have said other money can be used to fund SNAP.
Some of the Democrats have argued that you can use this contingency fund, but the truth is there's no legal mechanism to do it.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said the Democrats holding out over health care is not a partisan issue, but a moral one.
Republicans have the nerve to admit before the American people that ripping away SNAP benefits from 16 million children in this country and more than 1 million veterans is a pressure tactic designed to get the Congress to continue to gut the health care of the American people.
We're happy to talk about health care policy. We're happy to talk about tax policy. We're happy to talk about regulatory policy, but not at the point of a gun. You do not get to take the American people's government hostage and then demand that we give you everything you want in order to pay our air traffic controllers.
And Vice President Vance has pleaded for what he called 5 reasonable Democrats to step up and help Republicans stop the shutdown. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Thank you, Dale. Well, security experts are concerned about potential threats going into next week's elections as worries grow about cyber attacks, misinformation, and even physical violence. While off-year elections aren't usually a target, this year is shaping up to be an exception. CBN national security correspondent Caitlin Burke shows us why.
America's threat environment is now considered to be highly volatile given recent events and divisive political issues. Experts warn these conditions create an opening for bad actors, both foreign and domestic, to undermine Tuesday's elections.
We will likely see online content that's intended to inspire and facilitate violent or destructive activities that would benefit the efforts of these foreign hostile powers to sow discord, undermine confidence in our democratic institutions, and even inspire violent activity.
Homeland Security expert John Cohen with the Center for Internet Security, or CIS, warns states getting national attention are especially at risk.
The playbook used by our adversaries, particularly Russia, China, Iran, foreign terrorist groups, will be to look at those issues that are most divisive, that are causing the most turbulence in American society, and they'll seek to exploit those by creating and pushing out content online that's intended to exacerbate the polarized, divisive nature of our public discourse.
Cyber attacks, now a critical weapon used by our adversaries, according to a recent CIS election threat analysis.
We see government organizations, including election organizations, being targeted for phishing campaigns, where emails that are intended to encourage the recipient to click on a link, which then introduces malware or technical capabilities that will either allow the hacker to access information that they then use in a information campaign to undermine credibility of the election, or even impact the operations of those systems.
Cohen points out the highly polarized nature of American society is a major root of the problem.
An increasing number of people in our society believe that violence is an acceptable way to express their ideological or political views or their opposition to the views of others.
Meanwhile, Capitol Hill lawmakers arguing about how to stop this violence, often adding to the dangerous rhetoric.
I'm worried that if we're just going to use the violence that we all abhor to get into an argument about whether it's more left or more right, we kind of lose the point that it's all to be condemned.
We are faced with only two paths. Either we confront this political violence and end it, or it will end us.
Experts urge voters to be skeptical about online reports these next few days and rely instead on trusted, verified sources. Meanwhile, election officials on all levels, along with law enforcement, are advised to evaluate any cyber vulnerabilities and be prepared for potential disruptions both on and offline. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
Thank you, Caitlin. Well, turning now to the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa and recovery efforts underway throughout the Caribbean. In Jamaica, Melissa's devastation led to power outages, blocked roads, and other damage, making cleanup efforts much more difficult. Government officials saying whole communities have been wiped out or isolated. CBN's Operation Blessing is in Montego Bay, partnering with a local church. The team arrived after sundown yesterday and began handing out solar lamps to bring light in the darkness.
It looks crazy, sketchy a little bit, but you know, God is with us, and this is a ray of hope for the families. We just park, and people start coming out of the darkness to get one of the solar lamps. This is just the story of Operation Blessing. We show up in dark places, and people comes attracted by the light. Such a metaphor of the gospel.
A message of the gospel indeed. Well, in coming days, the team will distribute food, water, hot meals, and water purification systems and medical care to the community. Gordon?
If you're a member of the 700 Club, that's you on the ground in Jamaica today. If you want to contribute to the effort, it's real simple. You say, I want to give to the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. You can write to us at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. Just put disaster relief in the memo line of a check, or you can call us and say, I want to give to disaster relief. You can go to cbn.com. There's a place on the giving page where you can designate your gift to that, or you can text OBDR to 71777. Let's be a part of helping people in tremendous need. The video shows the obvious need in Jamaica. Let's step up and let's stand with them to say, yes, we're with you through this disaster. We want to see you through.